This year is Boom Studios' Power Rangers Unlimited Heir to Darkness. This is a one-shot which basically shows us how Karone became Astronema. Obviously there was the Power Rangers in Space TV series which explained what happened, but this is more of an expansion to that backstory. This one-shot begins with Astronema defeating a set of Power Rangers. These are the Prism Rangers from Power Rangers Super Mega Force, or Flashman from the original Japanese Super Sentai TV series. In Power Rangers, the Prism Rangers were just a set of those new powers with no real explanation as to where they came from. At least Boom Studios is showing them as a real team here. Astronema is about to put an end to the Green Ranger, but the Pink Ranger jumps in, buying enough time for the Green Ranger to escape. Astronema wants to know where Zordon is, but the Pink Ranger doesn't answer her. Without any information from the Ranger, Astronema says that the attack on the Prism Rangers was to ensure that few Rangers live to see tomorrow. This is sort of like the evil Astronema we got from the TV series. She was lied to when she was informed that the Power Rangers killed her family. That was already alluded to in Power Rangers issue number 5. And now we're going right back to Astronema's childhood. This is Karone after she was abducted. We can see here that she is being trained by Ecliptor. This is basically a class to teach young warriors combat skills. And Karone wasn't very good. When she eventually blocks one of Ecliptor's attacks, she celebrates in front of her friends, allowing Ecliptor to hit her again off guard. So Karone at this stage lacked the killer instinct to finish off opponents, or even to be aware of follow-up dirty moves. Now I know Astronema's backstory did include her training and taking on other warriors before. The events in this comic book have so far followed that. And yet at the same time I just feel that this doesn't seem right. Rather than the writing, it seems like it's an artwork issue to me. If you look at how Karone and the other young characters are drawn, they're too cute in a way. I know they're just children, but they are being trained as evil warriors. That coupled with their evil dialogue, it sort of doesn't bond very well. Returning to the present, Astronema reviews her battle against the Prism Rangers. She's analytical when it comes to combat. After enough sulking around after letting one Ranger escape, Kay, as she's known, contacts Ecliptor. When asked why it took so long for Kay to contact him, she tells him that she was savouring the victory and getting cleaned up. Ecliptor is waiting for Kay to rendezvous with him. She arrives at the capital of the planet Mortain, and it's revealed here that Kay is preparing for a match. She's already lost the last 6. Well, technically she didn't lose, she drew. Dark Spectre, however, considers draws failures. Going back to the past again, and we see what these matches are all about. Kay and her friends trained together, and they fought against each other. We see here that Kay can fight. She won, and was even gracious in her win. So, still lacking the killer instinct, and is simply more friendly instead. Basically, Kay has held on to her humanity, and hasn't embraced the evilness yet. She's pit against Dee in the next match, and Dee ultimately wins the match when she taunts at Kay. Dee distracted Kay by bringing up the subject of Kay's dead family. That allowed Dee to get the final 2 blows in. So all that seemed like a vicious battle. There's no way Kay can forgive Dee for that, right? Well, we actually see the young warriors together and talking about that match. Here they're just chilling out like it was nothing. Well, the others treat it as if it were nothing. However, Kay's not happy underneath. She doesn't like to lose over and over again. Ecliptor's training is clearly rubbing off on Kay though. Ecliptor is getting a telling off because Kay's not good enough yet, so vows he won't fail, as does Kay, and they both punch a wall in frustration. So now we can see Kay is starting to want to become more ruthless. Her training continues and her failures continue. The reason is because Kay's mind is clouded. And finally we see Kay break. She's had enough. She lost her family and she's failed Ecliptor. Kay throws a tantrum and cries. Ecliptor also breaks as he sees Kay upset. Now acting more as a father figure, he leaves Kay for a moment to retrieve a locket. That locket of course takes us back to the Power Rangers in Space series. The locket belonged to the mother of Karone and Andros. Ecliptor kept it off Karone thinking that he was protecting her by separating her from her past. It was supposed to make her stronger, but actually it had the opposite effect and made Karone weaker. By returning the locket to her, she will not use the locket as a weapon, but to become a weapon herself. So the training continues, and now with that locket around Kay's neck, she's ready for more. And now, back to the present. Once again, it's Dee versus Kay. If this ends in another draw, Kay will be wiped and sent to the front lines as cannon fodder or worse. So this is a must-win match. But before we see any more of that, back to the past again. Back when they were a team, they were going on a mission. It's complicated as Dee still verbally attacks Kay, and yet it's not a problem because they're a family, and they're alright as long as they're together. So we can see all that happened. Kay and Dee fought together. We can even see Kay help Dee up in the past. But here, in the present, they're both really going at it in combat. And with Kay's newfound strength, she is able to bring Dee down. With Kay in the winning position, Dee begs Kay not to kill her because they're family. However, Kay accepts the darkness in her now. She tells Dee her family is dead and lands the finishing blow on Dee, thus ending the match. That's not quite the end though. Kay won the match, but now she needs to earn her title. She steps into the darkness, and this is where she really changes. She sees images of her past. She is with her friends all happy at one point, and of course, more recently they fought to the death. So she's transitioning into Astronema of the Power Rangers in Space TV series. While in the darkness, she knowingly takes on a fake Ecliptor and finishes him off. The final test is to see whether Kay will want to return home. She says she is home, and so that concludes the test. We see that Dee is still alive, but her mind had to be wiped because there was permanent damage. Dee's face was scarred. She became Divatox. When Kay leaves the darkness, everyone bows down to her, and she informs everyone that the darkness has named her Astronema. Ecliptor says Astronema's ship awaits, so she heads towards it, blanking Divatox on the way out. And so this one-shot comes to an end because this leads into Power Rangers issue number 5, but the story will continue in issue number 6. Overall, this was an interesting take on Astronema's past. We knew some of it through the Power Rangers in Space TV series, but this added more to it. I feel like the artwork was a bit of a letdown. It didn't seem to match the tone of the story, which has been a problem in the past with Power Rangers comics. The story though was absolutely fine. Mostly. It was great to see Karone become Kay and then Astronema. However, the ending may or may not make sense. Dee became Divatox. Some might say that it makes no sense because Divatox looks older than Astronema from the TV series. In this comic, Karone was abducted at an older age because Darkonda was trying to put Ecliptor at a disadvantage because Karone would have retained more memories of her real childhood. So that would mean in the comics Astronema is older than Divatox. Then there's Demetria from Power Rangers Turbo, who was implied to be Divatox's sister. Are they even sisters then? Because that would imply when Zordon departed in Power Rangers Turbo that someone almost the same age as the Power Rangers was mentoring them. And there was one young warrior in the group, Mal. He was off on a special assignment. What happened? Did he turn into Malagor? If he did, why does Malagor look like Dark Spectre? And how did he end up trapped on the island of Meranthius? But that theory creates more problems as Malagor ended up there thousands of years ago. Maybe Mal and Malagor aren't the same. Boom Studios provided great references. I mean, we even saw Scorpina early on. But the revelation that Dee is Divatox has caused some confusion. It was one heck of a reveal though.